What is up, guys? The Strong Boys 19 here, and it is going to be the second to last review into the Black Sabbath discography. So right now we are very close to the end, guys, and I'm going to be reviewing Forbidden right after this review because I want to get this review done and out of the way. But with that being said, it is time to dive into this next album entitled Cross Purposes. So Cross Purposes was released in 1994, and this is the follow-up to 1992's Dehumanizer, which remained as the last ever Black Sabbath album with vocalist Ronnie James Dio, that Sabbath decided to bring him in whilst Tony Martin was still the vocalist, and that he didn't really quit, which I'm not going to go back into, but you know that story. There was going to be plans on tour to promote the album, which did happen, but there was one incident that Sabbath were going to support their former original vocalist, Ozzy Osbourne, and Dio was not really happy about that, and Ozzy became even more of a big, huge star on releasing countless albums under his own name with different guitar players and lineup changes. But Ozzy was even more of a dominating figure than Black Sabbath, which was really a bit of a shame because Ozzy Osbourne with Black Sabbath were really immensely huge. But when Ozzy was out of the band, things were changing, obviously, during the history of this band. So when Dio had heard that they were going to support Ozzy, he was not happy about it, and tensions were rising between him and the rest of the band, and Dio decided to quit Black Sabbath once again, and Vinny decides to stay with Dio, and Dio wanted to continue working on his own solo stuff after that, and that led to the very quick choice of having Judas Priest Rob Halford to step in for only 2 shows. Imagine how that would turn out to be. Geezer Butler is still present as Black Sabbath's bass player, although he did quit after the release of Cross Purposes before the period of Forbidden. So Black Sabbath decided to bring back Tony Martin to do the vocal duties, and they have to hire Bobby Rondinelli, who was the former drummer of Rainbow, and to replace Vinny with Bobby. I think Bobby is a really, really good drummer, highly talented, and a gifted one at that. And I think his drumming on Cross Purposes was different to the other drummers of Bill Ward's and Vinny's, but it's not a bad thing because some of his drumming on this album is really, really great. Anyway, this was another album to be released in the IRS Records label, and in my opinion, Cross Purposes is an album that is unfairly, and I mean unfairly, ignored, and not many of the fans would really describe and talk about this particular album. I think this is really one of my favorite underrated Sabbath albums. The production on here is really cool. I do like it. It was done by Leif Massis along with Black Sabbath. I do like the guitar tones on this record and the drums. So Jeff Nichols still remains consistent as the keyboardist with the guys. Some of the material on this album still continue that traditional, really deep, doomy, heavy riffing styles from Iommi's songwriting. And there are some tracks on here where it gets quite catchy and sometimes melodic and at points deep in lyricism. Tony Martin's vocal performances on here are really, really impressive. Though I would say that some of the performances, like on Headless Cross and The Eternal Idol, to be stronger and powerful than some of the songs on here, but Martin's vocals are still very, very good. I really do like some of the songs on here, like the opening song, Eyewitness, to one of my favorites, Cross of Thorns. Cross of Thorns is a brilliant song with some clean, jangly guitars and Martin's clean vocals, to some underrated classics, in my opinion, in the later repertoire of Psychophobia. Awesome, energetic song, especially with another one like Back to Eden, to some slower paced tracks like Dying for Love, which has awesome lead guitar work and the ambience driven keyboards from Nichols, to other songs like The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, which was really based on an actual crime that was committed from a female nurse that poisons infant babies. And to think of that as lyricism, it's something intense, and I mean that. There is a song on here called Evil Eye, and this song was co-written by the man himself, Eddie Van Halen. Now, for some reason, some people say that he did not get the credit for it, but when I was looking at the CD booklet of Cross Purposes, I did see his name on there. But I think Evil Eye is really good track to finish off the album. Some little criticisms that I have: few of the lyrics can be weak, and some of the tracks I'm not like big fans of, although that I do like them, but they just don't really follow along with the earlier or later tracks. Tracks like Virtual Death. Cardinal Sin is another good one, but I find that other ones I've mentioned to be stronger and better songs, in my opinion. But other than that, Cross Purposes does have striking musicianship to no extent that I would personally recommend this album. If you want to get into a Black Sabbath album that needs to get attention, and I will have to say this is one of my favorite Black Sabbath albums. Despite some of the drawbacks, Cross Purposes is an album that I really, really enjoyed. So with that being said, I am going to give this album by Black Sabbath an 8.5 out of 10. So let me know what you think of Cross Purposes down in the comments below, and then I'm going to dive into the last of the last Tony Martin Black Sabbath album, that is Forbidden. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll keep you guys posted for more videos in the near future.